No,
Let me
you shouldn't need to. If you hit the little arrow here, you should see where your speaker's at, which should be, yep, you're on the odd spot.
Okay,
So you're
so it should
fine.
be fine.
Yeah, you're totally fine.
He's gonna log in. We'll test
Okay.
it.
And then I need to log into yours, which I don't, did you send me the link? Thought you
I
did.
thought so. I sent you an email yesterday. It should be there towards the top. Sorry, not that top. There we go. Well, how about
Oh,
the
the
meeting
meeting
ID?
ID. There you go. Perfect. Let's copy and paste.
Are you logged in, Carlos?
I'm logging in right now.
Let's CDPP.
I can hear you guys.
Okay. So should I stop the video on my laptop? Or maybe not.
No, he just has to mute his sound.
All right, I get the Osbot to think me
It's
this.
weird, now it switched over, it moved over to Tony.
Yeah, I don't know why. And I had my hand in front of it.
Have
That,
it on the side, Rich, not in front of you, like right here.
Yeah.
all
Oh,
right.
yeah. All you gotta do is wave.
Right now it's following Tony.
And did it double blink?
It did. Actually, I had a double blink last time, but my hand was over here, so my hand was Tony's.
Now you just turned it off. Because you wrote.
Because I'm waving, huh? Okay.
All right.
That must be from your laptop.
Yep, and then I'll mute mine.
There we go. You're not following me.
Because you told to not follow you anymore.
Oh, I thought I instructed it to follow me, actually. Let's see. All right, now it's following me. Kind of.
I love it though.
Yeah, it's amazing technology. I noticed for me, I would actually have to extend the height of this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, I'm 5'6", 5'7", all right? I am not, my mother was 4'9", my dad was 6'2". I think I came out pretty good in between.
Well, like typically I can pull this further back, but it's pulling it forward so that and then it.
Now, what you can do is when you hold up your hand, do an L icon or do the L shape, and it'll zoom in on you.
Oh,
So
really?
if you want it to zoom in on you, so now hold up your hand and do the L. And see how it just zoomed in?
Oh, yeah.
But now it cuts off your head.
That's cool. It does.
But now you can raise the,
Uh-huh.
you can raise it
Yeah.
just a tad.
That's okay. Tony's going to be the guest speaker
That's okay. When I say it for it to follow me, it'll point down.
here.
It's much rather it'll point it down. Than,
See, what I notice when I'm on that camera and I look down, it's like you see me looking down. I'm not looking at the camera. So that's a drawback of that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the stand that keeps it's leaning forward.
That's interesting.
I still see all of them now.
Must be the desk.
When I go to edit.
Yeah, because when I set it there, it's fine, but it's when I set it here, it's I don't know if it's because the cable was pulling.
Okay, payroll. Yeah.
And then I guess you guys are getting ready to launch that recenter hub soon. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I saw that actually. I read the
You know,
information that's coming through and trying to log in.
Okay, that would only take from
You can share your recipe if you like. You're on.
Oh, excellent.
You're live.
So yeah, I use London broil, teriyaki.
You have to cut it really thin. Does that matter?
I like thick. So like in Texas, you can get thick beef jerky. So I just cut it maybe a 1/4 inch
Mhm.
and then marinated it with teriyaki, salt, pepper, garlic, and a little honey.
Sounds good.
And just let it, and it not overpowering.
Mhm.
But just let it do its thing and then stick it in the smoker for like 160 for like 5 or 6 hours.
That's it.
That was it. That was it.
You just package it.
And then just packaged it. Yeah, it was a nice little snack and because you know how when you're on the go, especially as a real estate agent, you're just busy showing.
Like a healthier snack.
Yeah, and you can control your salt content.
Mhm.
So near sugar. So I'm thinking about doing it again, but this time doing like a dry rub. So let it sit overnight in a dry rub and then do the smoking. So just to see how that will turn out. So
Did you ever watch Guys Ranch Kitchen?
no,
No.
Guy's Ranch Kitchen. Ooh, that sounds
I'm
fun.
curious. It really is. Not that I could, but I.
Okay.
But he'll have 4 or 5 chefs on the show, and he bought a ranch in Santa Clarita. And so he has an entire kitchen set up outside. It's spectacular, right? But all these great chefs, all they do is make these great dinners, meals, and then each had their own part. And of course, always making drinks to go with it. So it's
There
if
you
you like
go.
cooking. It's a good show.
I do have a couple of cooking videos on my
do.
YouTube channel. So I know a few people are like, what are you gonna do more? So I got one for a cobbler, sauteed green beans, a chuck roast, and I think I've done a brisket one, but yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you had those talents.
I did a green chili smoked mac and cheese dish. So if you like macaroni and cheese, which is,
But I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
There's a difference liking and
and eating it. I've got a good recipe for
what
that.
I'm going to give into, right?
And I did my own smoked cheese. I did a smoked white cheddar. And that
Mhm.
turned out really good. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you find a lot of people using ePropertyWatch?
I'm starting to see it more.
Right.
I'm starting to see more usage, especially when you're talking about post-close connection,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I love it, just because you're giving them the constant reminder, or the system automatically gives them a constant reminder of value about their home, but it's coming from you. So the whole point of, as you know, client retention is a little bit more than the anniversary cards, and because they forget.
Yeah.
They forget.
Yeah.
But at least if you give them this, that's right. You're my realtor. Maybe it is a good time to sell. Maybe,
That's right.
There's
There's always
no
a time to
competition.
sell.
so.
Carlos was listening. Now in the chat. Now we are hungry. That wasn't you? Who's logged in under CBPP?
It's me,
I
Setup.
assumed it was you, Carlos.
Am I logged in under
Huh?
the CBPP?
Oh, I'm just trying to mask your identity. Is that you, Richard? No, is it?
Well, we could do it. We could do a cooking show.
We should do a cooking show.
So while Rich is talking about, the industry and contracts, we'll make a ribeye and maybe a couple filet mignons and stuff like that.
Everybody. Real estate food's all the same, right? You have to have both.
Gotta have both, right? Yeah, because you got a mini kitchen here.
Yeah. Just a microwave.
Oh, just a microwave. Hey, we can do some microwave food.
Can't bring your smoker in here though.
Hey, we could stick it outside.
We could. We would have great attendance.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
I think Costco's got them on sale right now. They always seem to have them on sale, so the Traegers.
Almost time to begin the excitement.
Mhm.
Carlos, you able to hear me back there?
I can hear you.
Okay.
but On the speaker?
Yeah, is everybody able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
That's why they were saying that they're getting hungry.
I was busy jotting down recipes from Anthony.
You entice them with food.
Food always works. Food and alcohol.
There you go. I do have a
Mine
good,
was coming up.
which one?
What?
Cinco de Mayo's coming up.
That's true. What was it? I was in Wichita, Kansas, and I was invited to a dinner, and we went to this restaurant called 6S, which was a steak place. But one of their drinks was sangrias,
Okay.
but it wasn't just one sangria. They give you 3 different full glass sangrias, and this really cool thing. One was like a red berry, another one was an orange, and then you had a regular sangria, all for like $6.
Well,
And everybody was just like, have a couple of those.
Yeah, of course. $6 not happening around here. I don't
Exactly.
care where you go around here.
But it was pretty. It was all pretty.
I'm sure it was. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Thanks for attending. We do have a guest speaker, but I just thought I'd mention before we go on that June 12th, I think there are going to be about 80 modifications to forms. So it's we'll have a specific unfortunate class to go over the changes. Some are more material than others, but I thought I'd let you know that at least 80 forms will be affected by the revisions. And then there's only one new form addition, but many revisions.
Gotta love when the law says.
Yeah, that's right. That's where we're learning from everything, as a matter of fact. So our speaker today is Tony Breed, and we're going to talk about ePropertyWatch. Why do agents love ePropertyWatch? Well, I'm going to tell you. You can sponsor ePropertyWatch, actually, and with over 50% open rates, ePropertyWatch emails to help your clients remember your name for years to come. So the whole purpose is it's another tool for you to stay in front of your clients. So let's welcome Anthony Breed with Orange County Realtors. Thank you.
So I'm just gonna pop on camera here. There we go. I'm at Rich's camera. So good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony. I work at Orange County Realtors. Been there now for a little over 20 years. Started off in the MLS department. Guaranteed I'll speak to everybody regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What I'm also involved with is the outreach program. So every month, Mr. Moore has me out here to give you training on all your tools. So that's kind of what I do. So today our big topic is ePropertyWatch, staying connected post-close. So the big thing that we all need to be mindful of is that, yes, it's great to stay connected with our clients, right? Our referral base. Client closes escrow. What do we do now? We send them anniversary cards. We send them birthday cards. We send them gift cards, right? Now, why isn't this always working? Well, NAR a few years ago kind of did a survey of, would you ever, use your agent again? And more than 75% said, yes, I would love to use my agent again. But 90% of those 75 people said, I can't remember who my agent was. Now, if most of you are all staying connected this way, of the anniversary cards, the birthday cards, why aren't they remembering that you're an agent? Because there's nothing in the birthday card, there's nothing in the anniversary card, there's nothing in the gift card that says, I'm still in real estate. What value do you need to present to a client? This is where ePropertyWatch comes into play. What ePropertyWatch allows us to do is send them to send them an update about their home or their property, either on a monthly or quarterly basis that they set up themselves. That when they receive an update, it gives them what their home values are like, what changes are going on, what they owe left on their loan. But all the while, it's branded back to you. So yes, you can use, or you can still send them the anniversary cards. You can still send them the birthday cards. You can send them the gift cards, but now we're providing even more value because we're sending them the important value of what is your home still currently worth. If you were thinking about selling, remember, use me, your agent. Now, how does this all set up? And Carlos, do I have co-host rights? That's okay. Let me just share my screen. And I see a bunch of questions. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And I see here. We'll just close that out. We'll just start it all from here from the MLS itself. So what you want to do is when you're in the MLS, move your mouse to the links tab. And when we go to the links tab, we're going to scroll down through all of our third-party member benefits until we come up to one of the benefits called ePropertyWatch. Now, when you do this, you've got to sign up and activate your free account. Okay. Now, hopefully this will work here. There we go. Now, this is going to come up. It's going to give you a whole slew of stuff like what your client status is, your clients that you've invited, your recent invites, subscription emails, if anybody's unsubscribed from it, because this is a subscription style service. But basically what you're going to do is after you sign up for this, you're going to put in your profile, put in your picture, but then we're just going to simply come over to where it says clients.
Tony, can you minimize the bar showing?
Oh, the picture,
Yes.
the cameras. There you go. Does that help?
It's on your laptop.
Oh, here, I got it.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. So now what we're going to do here is that we're going to actually add in a client. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply come over to where it says new and type in our client's information. All we're going to do is we're going to put in a first name, last name, their email address, and the property address that maybe they just recently closed escrow on. By the way, this is great for any and all clients, not just your current clients or your newest clients, but any past clients. Invite them to an ePropertyWatch. As a matter of fact, invite yourselves. Anybody here own? One person owns? Excellent. Anybody in Cyberland? Couple, right? Put in yourself. That way you get to see what you're going to be able to get. Put in your name, put in your email address, put in the property. And now when you hit send, this sends out an invite. Now, when it sends out the invite, I'm just going to pop over to my email here. It's basically going to say ePropertyWatch, or you've been invited to an ePropertyWatch to receive an ePropertyWatch, your name via this company. And now when they click on it, they can learn or add more information about their property. And when they access it, we're going to notice a couple of cool things here. Number one, based on my profile that I set up on ePropertyWatch, we see that I'm currently branded. Okay. We see here some information about the property, which, by the way, if this is something new for them, they're going to fill in information, right? They're going to fill in information like their mortgage balance. They're going to indicate what they took the mortgage out for, if they have a first or a second. So all they're going to do is just edit the details, what their loan is, when they took it out, what their rate is, how long their terms are, what their payments immediately are going to be like, which, by the way, this is automatically going to fill in based on their interest rate and what their loan amount is. And now they get an update. It's also going to ask them, how often do you want to be notified about an update about your home? Do you want a monthly update or a quarterly update? By the way, a quarterly update is every 3 months. Okay. But here, now anytime they get an update, they immediately get to see estimated values based on area information. If their rate of their value has changed, either plus or minus, and by how much. what their estimated equity is going to be based on what they currently owe, what they've paid on their loan, and of course, the value of the property itself. So now what have we done? Anybody? We've now provided what? Young lady?
Service, information.
Service and information, value.
Can I ask you, the estimated value says custom value entered by Anthony Breed. Did you override the system and put in a value yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did that, but this will have it, whatever their
You will
value is.
estimate the value without you overriding the system.
Correct. And it will base it on down below recent sales
Mhm.
in the area. So here we've got all the recent sales in the area that may or may not have been in the MLS. Pulled from public tax records as well as MLS data. So here we get to see all the different values of all the other homes to now all of a sudden here as a homeowner, am I getting more equity? Is it a good time to sell? Right? I notice a lot of people in my neighborhood have listed, right? We get to see some estimated value comparable, which by the way, we're just looking at tab 1. A quick summary. If that doesn't prompt them to give you a call, because by the way, at the very top, your information immediately says contact me via either phone number or email address. Right? But here, if say as an example, they wanted to look at the details about their property, we can see a satellite view of the home, a map view. We get to see information pulled from tax, single family resident, the address, year built, square footage, bedroom, bathroom, all these reminders. Even if I were a homeowner and I changed something about my home, but I didn't update my tax records, I'm going to look at that stuff, maybe take it into account, maybe give you a call, my agent. How would this affect my home if I didn't get it permitted? Or here's the advantages of being permitted. I start adding value, which now increases my estimated value, which hopefully increases my net equity or my return on investment, right? So here we've got all this amazing stuff. And of course, the entire history about my property, all right here, all provided by you, the agent. Any questions on the details of the summary so far?
No,
No, pretty cool, right? Here we go. Let's have some fun. Let's learn about our neighborhood. Woo-hoo. So here in our neighborhood, Star is where you're at or they're at. And now look at all what's going on in and around my area. I can look at and see that there have been 17 new listings in my area that have been added to the MLS. I see that there have been 25 sales. I also get to see that 3 properties went recently into escrow. I also get to see that there were 11 properties recently rented. So if I happen to see that in my neighborhood, there are more rents going on than sales, absentee owners, things like that, which by the way, this is why I want you to send it to yourself, because anybody here marketing their neighborhood? I see no hands raised. Why not market your neighborhood? Wouldn't this be a great thing to know about your neighborhood, about who's listing where and what's going on in your own neighborhood, your own backyard, right? Shouldn't you have that pie? By the way, recorded sales are outside of MLS, not even listed in the MLS. So either a FSBO or a registered sale. Here we see one property is up for rent, but more importantly, the last one here. Oh, and one property refied. But down below, there are 3 liens in my neighborhood. Anybody here want to know or help out a homeowner either stay in their home or help transition out of this bad property into another property? Wouldn't that be great to know because they're behind on their mortgage? Deselect everything else. And now find those 3 homes. Click on the little dots and see a little bit about that property, and you all have access to title. get their information, give them a call, or even better yet, knock on their door. Hey, I'm the local agent in the neighborhood. Are you in a bad situation? Maybe you're behind on your lease or on your mortgage. Do you need to either get help refinancing, which by the way, I know a great lender here at Coldwell Banker Platinum that might be able to help you, or based on your financial needs, maybe you need to take advantage of the equity, get out of this property and get into a property that's more affordable for you. How can I help you? Isn't that a great conversation starter?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, granted, some people will go, well, how did you know? Hey, I'm a real estate agent. We have access to a lot of information. But I want to help you with your situation. It's not about my pocket, it's about you. So we can have those types of deep conversations very quickly and easily, just from even within our own neighborhoods. And again, I can even move my map around, so I don't have to stay in one location. But this is great for any homeowner to know who their competition might be in and around their area. Because again, when I come and ask you to come back, hey, can you do a home evaluation to tell me if I can get top dollar for my home? I noticed that based on your ePropertyWatch that there have been some sales and some current listings, but how can you help me take advantage of today's market to get top dollar? Aren't you all happy to get an appointment at that point?
Can you hover over each individual marker and then it'll show you what the price was if it was sold, for example, or if it's listed?
Sure. So here, if I,
All right, it does. Okay.
yeah. So it should tell me what the list price is, all right here, and it'll tell me some details about the property. So it's active at 980 currently. But in the past, they paid off their loan, or they have a payoff loan of $413,000. They refied at 361. You know, it's kind of amazing. By the way, the buyer bought back in 2010. Richard Ryan.
That's really great.
It's really great, right? I and our clients can do a lot with this information. And again, this is all public data, right? Of course, obviously, we like to see trends, right? The charts and graphs, median sales price is always important. Distressed properties we see here, because I know a lot of people are like, geez, there must be a lot of distressed properties getting ready to be released. Well, look, we're not like we were back in 2013, 2012, where there were a lot, which by the way, I think that made up close to 34% of the MLS data. Today, we're looking at less than 1% in and around our neighborhoods. Sales volume, risk factor. Is it risky to sell your home right now? Average adjusted gross income by people. That's kind of always nice. Income types, refunds and taxes due to that zip code, all that fun stuff. So the whole idea behind ePropertyWatch is to stay connected with each other, client side, agent side, but more importantly, you're providing value. I know everybody goes, well, I provide value with those cards. You do, but when they forget about you, 2 years down the road, they list with somebody else. Aren't we all mad? If you do this, you stay top of mind. And at those moments when they need to go through a lifestyle change, we want to be thought of first, not last. Are there any questions on this?
Analytics.
Yes, sir.
So open rates, time they spend on the site, they've searched or looked at other properties.
Mhm.
Is there anything that gives you insight in regards to what their activity consisted of?
Yes. So back under your own ePropertyWatch, you'll actually get to see under your clients' information. Once they've confirmed it, you can actually look at what properties they've added, what they've done to it. You can actually see their own analytics as well to keep up with it. So you can walk them through all that.
So if you have 5 clients, it's going to show 5 here, assuming they open up the email, correct?
Yes.
And then within that, you can click on it and drill down to see exactly what their activity consisted of.
Correct. And of course, their dashboard, you can see the properties, the invite list, their opens, if they've actually taken advantage of it. So this is all good for you on your side as well to look at this information. So
Do you have anything that's populated to show us exactly what?
I
it
do
looked like?
not, I don't know why it doesn't show my
Your own property.
own property, which it used to show. Oh, yeah,
And are there notifications that can be sent to you telling you that they have opened up the email or?
I
assuming
do
you want
believe,
notifications?
I do believe I get an email in my email box as the agent indicating when the email goes out, as well as the email going to the client version. So I do get that on that quarterly basis or monthly basis that I've set up. So it kind of gives you the reminder, oh, they got their email, which now should give you a reminder to go into your ePropertyWatch and kind of look at things just to see your change.
Are those settings that you yourself have control over?
No, not in the receiving as the agent. It's automatic. So, which is kind of nice. Now, oh, one other thing. If you have a client that's got multiple properties, I, as the client, can actually come over to my property section and add in all my other properties. So even though you were only representing them in the first property, they can now add in all the others, which now this is all coming from me anyway. So even if I wasn't their agent in the beginning, I can now be their agent for all their other investments.
How do you need to go there
Huh?
to see all this graphic? I can,
Oh, it's under the tab trends.
yeah, but how do I get all these stats?
So when the client receives this, when the client receives this, they start off with their basic value tab, but they have access to all of this as the client.
Okay, we don't have access to that, so I can.
Not until the client accepts it, activates it, and then when I look at their client list, I can then look at all their properties and look at all these charts. What I can't do is edit the information. So one thing that I know some agents have asked is, can I put in this information on their behalf? The answer to that is no, because a lot of times we're not always involved in knowing what their mortgage is, what their payments are going to be like, right? Or if they take out a second or a third mortgage, like a HELOC or anything, that will be all up on them, not on me, because that could happen after the fact. So they've given that power to the client instead of us. But let's walk them through it. Hey, make sure you put in your values. You don't have to put in all the features, but there will be editable features like an adding of a room if they do an addition or something to that effect. So does that help? That's pretty much ePropertyWatch.
Well, I think there's a couple things when you can set up a client gateway, which is great. But what's neat about this with the same client, it gives them all this other historical information that they don't get
Through the,
when being a part of the client gateway, as a matter of
are you
fact.
talking about the one home portal?
Yeah, yeah. So I think even if somebody's shopping in an area, you put in a designated address and they can see everything that's taking place around it, not just in a list provided them.
That's
through the
true.
one home portal. So I think there's some real distinct advantages, so they can see the trends in those areas.
Exactly. I think that's a huge advantage here. You know, I think the only thing that would differentiate this is, you know, they wouldn't necessarily know this information,
No, right.
but the trends would be great. The neighborhood would be great for them, which is why I think for you all as agents to set up your own ePropertyWatch for yourself. You know, even if you rent, put in that, and then that way, you know, sure, you exclude out the value, but the details, the neighborhood, and the trends section are huge for you as an agent. Yes, sir.
So I might have missed it, but where does it pull the mortgage information from?
The client themselves edits that mortgage data. So they would sit there and they would input the details. So even if they did a refi, they could then change that information
I said, I thought for some, and good, that was a good question, Carlos. I thought it was possibly pulling from the public records and estimating what the remaining balance would be.
No,
So they're not gonna see a number in there when it's sent to them initially.
correct, because it will say, make sure you edit some information.
Okay.
So it's gonna say, you know, when they initiate it, it will ask them immediately, when's your mortgage, you know, do you have a mortgage? If so, what is this information? And then they'll put all that in. You'll notice here, I put in a balance. I didn't put in a balance that's owed. I just put in my original amount just because that's when we started the mortgage, right? So you know, it assumed that this is what my balance is, and based on this, if you kept up with your payments, it will automatically deduct that in all the charts. Which is great.
Yeah.
Because how often do we all remember how much we owe on our mortgage, right? If we have that, if we have that 30 years, we won't really pay attention to it until year 28. And we go, that's right, we're almost done with our mortgage. Right? So I think we've got a lot of power here as a homeowner.
So the search criteria, what is the distance from the subject property to everything that's included in the results?
I think this includes, I want to say about 5 miles. No. This is a 2-mile radius at least.
Okay. Can you draw a map? Can you?
You can
modify
actually
that?
zoom on your map. So when you go to your details, or I'm sorry, your neighborhood, there is a way to zoom in and narrow down that information.
So if you're sending it, you're personalizing for someone, you can identify a more specific area.
You could, but this is again based on their home.
Yeah.
So this is where their home is located or the property that is located, and now it's just pulling up whatever. Now I could outline and just give me this, and it's just going to give that to me then. But when they look at this again a month or a quarter later, it's going to give me the same full area. So it's not going to stay like an one home portal search.
And then you set up clients individually, and that's the time you initiate the opening email going out.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any other way to read in your client list?
So I would go through my CRM, and then there is an import choice.
So there is.
There is an import choice where if I export the list to a CSV file, when I am in my invite a friend, or I'm sorry, I don't know why it switched me to Tom. But what should happen,
If you go to clients,
I know I'm trying to find clients, but it's not. I probably went into the wrong thing. It's okay. When all else fails, restart it. When you go to the clients at the top, there is a choice here. And that's what I want to see. To import. So I can import from my CRM, my contacts into here, and then send them all an invite. So I would just go through and individually just put in their information. Now with the CSV file, they'll have a spot for their first name, the last name, and of course their home address, which this will automatically be filled in. And now I can just send them a mass invite to all those
To
people,
everybody, right?
to everybody, to make your lives a lot easier, which now I can check mark off on my business, or on my little plan on my CRM, reconnect with all my past clients. So now some of them will now reach out to you. Hey, I just got this from you. This is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden we have a conversation.
I think you represent a buyer, and that property closes, they want to always know what's
They want-
taking place with the marketplace.
Especially today's clients.
Yeah.
Today's clients want to know information.
Yeah.
And now if we're providing them information, we now solidify even further our relationship.
And there's a question.
Yes.
Let's see.
There is a question. What is the question?
It's Carmenza.
It says a client let's see. As client doesn't need to sign in or get access as soon as it opens the link. Unlike the One Home portal where it lasts for only 30 days, this does not. So if it sits in their inbox for 60 days, it'll still be there until they click on it and actually activate it. Now, in your ePropertyWatch side, it will just indicate that they haven't either opened the email or even activated it. So you as the agent will also be notified, which now maybe we reach out and say, hey, by the way, as a reminder, don't forget to open up your auto email or the ePropertyWatch email, because you want to know what your value is. Yes.
So the link stays live throughout the whole month, right? Until the next one comes up. So any activity that's new, if you click on that.
Well, that link stays live until they activate it, period. So the question kind of is, it never dies. It doesn't expire, unlike the One Home.
No,
The One Home
but
lasts for
once
30
you
days.
activate it- Once you activate it and it goes live, instead of like waiting for the next month for new data, it's always live, right? Up to
Yeah.
date?
Yep. As you had seen earlier in my other emails, I have a bazillion ePropertyWatch emails. Let's see here. So if I go back a little bit, all my ePropertyWatch emails are right there. Now, if I click on this one, it won't give me what that value was at the time. It will only give me the current because you're right. It's lifetime updated data. But the link is still alive.
Mhm.
So if I accidentally deleted one, I can always go back into a previous, which is really awesome.
So this is showing you as being the recipient, right?
Yes,
Can we see
sure, we can invite,
what you're going to be looking at in your dashboard as the agent?
sure. So if I go back and we're going to add somebody here, so just going to set up a new client. And we'll put in the address. There we go.
And for those of you that are here, we don't know what that ticking noise is that's somehow moving around the ceiling over there in the building.
Oh, I just thought it was just me.
That's true.
All right, so I won't let me send the email. Oh, there it goes. So now it should have sent. So now what should happen is that in the next couple of minutes, they receive the email. And hopefully, oops, wrong thing. Now, how often they get these emails? Nope. Come on. ePropertyWatch. I do believe it does take a little bit for that email to get. Probably I wish it was faster. I don't know why some emails come right away and the other ones just take its sweet time. But it should say Anthony Breed via this, ePropertyWatch, and then 3500 Baranka. At which point that person should be able to click on it and create, their account and put in their data.
Then on your dashboard, you're going to see what? As the agents who sent or initiated.
As the agent, what should happen is, and I don't know why it didn't,
Okay, that's right. We addressed that before, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't populating the screen.
it's not populating, but wait a minute, what does it say? Now, why won't you let me move this bar? There we go. Click the new button to add a new client. Well, I kind of did that. And I guarantee it's probably because of my my particular account. But yeah, see here on this dashboard, you got your client status, like they confirmed it. They've got so many properties. Here are your clients, the subscription emails, if they've been opened or not. So how many I've sent, if they've been opened or not. So you get to track all that too for you. You're recently invited, and again, I don't know why. Well, let's see, 5 contacts to import. Let's import them. Okay. There we go. So let's select.
You see, you have the name Bugs Bunny associated with Sandra's email address.
Exactly.
Is she aware of that?
Yes. Yes. But here I just imported a list, so please select a contact. I did. So I don't know why it's just giving me, it's buggering. So I guess I will have to talk to CRMLS about this. Oh, now it's finally showing
It
something.
is, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
hopefully
there's
we'll
another
see a
question.
status. There we go.
The question
It's
is-
pending.
There it
Yes.
is, okay.
There's another question and it says, is the agent reminded that it is time to send another email, like every 3 months?
No, the agent isn't reminded. Are you talking about the client side, Carlos?
The agent, asked the question like, if does the system remind me as an agent to send another?
No,
email?
as a matter of fact, the system does it automatically. So every 3 months, it sends the update to the client about their home value. So you don't have to, it's like you set it and you forget it, right? So it gives you the reminder, or it sends you an email saying they've received it, just like they're receiving it. So you actually now should be reminded to go back into ePropertyWatch and check out your clients, their open rates, their properties, and maybe it's a property that, geez, it's a $3.5 million property, which now all of a sudden you'll reach out and say, hey, by the way, have you been getting my eProperty watches? Because I know you're getting them, you're just not opening them, right? Because you can see if they've opened that email. So if you see that, now all of a sudden they look at it, hey, just look through it, no pressure. If you're needing to list or if your life needs to change, know that you've got probably some great equity from the time you bought it to today.
So another question is, does this only work with CRMLS or do you know if it works with Vesta Plus?
I don't know what Vesta Plus is. Is that Coldwell?
No, I don't know if that's.
This-
what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe Palm Springs area?
This works within CRMLS, so it's for any and all properties. So it's actually, it's a product offered by CRMLS, but any property anywhere, right? If they own in San Francisco, you're sending them an ePropertyWatch,
So
right?
it doesn't matter, it's not based on the MLS.
It's not based on the MLS, it's based on the property.
So it will work.
Yeah. So, and again, if your client owns multiple investment properties, they can add in all their investment properties to keep track of those values, right? Which is important too. Am I getting a good enough return on my investment? Is it a good time to, sell it if I still am only making $75 a month passive income? To maybe buy something else somewhere else.
Now, you mentioned 3 months, maybe it's just an arbitrary delivery time
Mhm.
or frequency. Can you change that?
Yeah, they should be able to change it.
So if you want to do out more often or less frequently, you could do that also.
Correct. So it would be under their settings. Whoops.
Yeah, can we just look at the settings? I say, Rachel, set it up and just walk away.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that was a good example. They have a lot of equity. They don't realize how much or what's going on in the area.
exactly. Now, how do I figure this out? Because that's a great question, because I figure you just set it and you kind of forget it and you pick it. Oh, here we go. Every 2 weeks.
There it is, every 2 weeks.
So now I
Yeah,
can
easily right there.
change it every 4 weeks, every month, so you go into your value underneath your address, you change it from your time frame from every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks or every 3 months. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have my client already accepted, and I'm trying to go there. And I don't know how to get there.
You don't know how to get to this?
Yeah. to
So-
value the,
So what you should be able to do is with your client, So here you go to your
Yeah.
clients
Okay. Then you go back there. Okay,
and then, or go to your reports and see what properties. So go to your report section. And can you select the details?
yeah. So,
And then here they should have their properties once they upload it. If they deleted any, but here you should be able to see what properties, and there should be a choice to look at that property.
but when I go to report, there, that's where it shows, it doesn't show.
So you went to the reports.
Yeah, and I don't see,
So it should be under clients, and then when you select the
oh,
client on the right, there's details.
Let's see here. Sorry, yes, under client. And then you went under the details section.
And then it shows you the client details, and then in the middle under properties,
Should be the property.
yeah, you can click on the link on the property address, and it's a link.
Yeah, so once they put in their property or do what they need to, you should be able to click on it. Do you
okay,
see it?
now I'm here, There, after that, you see everything as a value and,
So
Click
do
on
you
the
see
link.
do you see the address here under the property section?
yeah,
Okay, when you click on it,
oh, okay.
did
Thank
it,
you.
did it work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carolyn, you did that during the presentation?
Yeah,
Good for you.
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
that's
hey,
right.
excellent.
That's very.
See, text message your husband, open this now. You
yeah,
wanna
that's
see it?
exactly what I did.
You better answer, right?
So, yes, you went under your property. So yes, you can see this information, which is a great way of keeping up. Because I don't know if most CRMs will keep up with the values necessarily of the home, other than, geez, this is what they bought it for, but it won't have any of the other details necessarily, right? So at least this way, this is a great way of enhancing your CRM with the property details.
And my husband said that everything there is wrong, so is it possible?
So when you say everything there is wrong,
It's a reason to talk to him though, right?
right? So what's wrong about it?
Like, he say like he doesn't have a mortgage, like.
Yeah, he's got to put that in. So he's got to go to the mortgage and edit the details. Yeah, he's got to change
Where
that.
did you get all that information? Why it's wrong?
Well, it won't be wrong until after he puts it in. So if he's not updated it yet, you're not going to see what that is yet,
Oh, okay,
right? So why your mortgage is wrong, I don't know, other than he's got to edit it. If he's
Editing
editing,
you something of whatever's on file for whatever mortgage they had previously.
good
doesn't
question.
seem to.
It probably doesn't have all the specific details.
Okay.
Because again, it's probably just, putting some numbers in. I would go in and edit the mortgage to put in your correct numbers.
So let me ask you, can you actually populate that information for the client when you set them up?
I have not been able to, no.
All right.
As you notice, I just put in the address and that was it. It sent it off. So I have no capability of confirming it,
Sharing that information.
inserting that information. So that's why it's dependent upon the client to fill in that information for that mortgage, right? Just like they can edit some details about the property, like adding in an extra bedroom or what have you. If not, that's pulling it from title. So most of that's automatically going to be filled in from title records. So if anything's been corrected or modified, like you did a refi,
Yeah, that's what he say. He did like,
so he's got to go in and put in the refi information so that now it will adjust with all those necessary
Show the
documents.
history, just the sequential history or the abstract. right?
Correct.
Compared to what took place with title.
Yes,
so
Yes.
title has the information from the day he bought, and if you do any change with the bank or whatever, title doesn't get that information. You have to tell them, right?
correct.
Oh, okay, okay.
So when you go into the details page for the client, you can actually modify the mortgage information.
Yeah, I thought I showed that earlier, but yes. So when you're in the details section or the value section.
Yeah.
So as a client, what they need now to do is come down below and put in their mortgage, right? So here, if they did a refi, they're going to edit the details about their mortgage, right? If they took out another mortgage on top of their first, right? Like a HELOC, they could put that add that mortgage in, which will now affect their totals. And of course, their equity and all this other stuff. But yes, this is where this becomes client dependent to put in the necessary correct terms. Now, I'm surprised I don't hear a question. Well, how does the client know this? Don't they sign escrow docs? Right? Isn't this all laid out in their escrow docs? Hopefully they got it and, and maybe let's take a look at your closing docs that you
Yeah,
signed off.
remember, you can pull up the deed of trust if there is a loan recorded, determine at least when it was recorded. Many times the deed of trust will not reflect the interest rate.
Right,
However, you can see when it recorded and at the initial amount of the loan or encumbrance.
right. Which again, if you've got a client that's got a 3.5%, and what are we at today, 6.5? They
Does
may
it show the vesting for the subject property?
the vesting.
Is it something that's going to be apparent to them?
I don't know what you
And
mean.
the only reason I'm asking, sometimes people will take it in their individual names and maybe they should put it in the family trust. for example.
That may be under the details. That should be under the details because it will list everybody who's on title.
I think we went past it.
Yeah,
Current owner.
current owner, right? So it'll pull what's on title. It'll even have the original recorded sale
The box to the right of it, is that a,
editable.
yeah.
I do believe so. So
Gives us
here
More information. Can you-
we can correct whatever's here
I
for
see.
our records. So if it was, you know what, we transferred title into the trust or LLC, what date did we do that? Or maybe I
Just a
sold it to my
reminder that they
kids,
haven't done it.
or a reminder that we haven't done it. Right? We can edit some of that information. Now, will that affect title? No, this is all again for their personal records.
Okay,
Yeah. Which, I mean,
that's nice.
that's great to know that we've got $8,100 in property taxes every year.
Congrats on the equity too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we at least can have, I like this too. Currently, the building's in good shape. It's single family. It's got AC, garage, carport. I could think I need to correct that because I think we only have 2 fireplaces. So, but I mean, you at least can see that. You also, whoops. Notice that down below, there is the map of comparable properties in and around a certain given area. So they try to keep it as close by, but we've got all that fun stuff.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Like when it say sold in the MLS and sell record, what does that mean between the?
It was outside the MLS. So if it was a FSBO or maybe the agent registered the listing, so it's not in the MLS and they sold it outside of the MLS, that's a recorded sale. So it's
I don't
public
get it.
records.
I don't understand. What is the difference between those two?
So for sale or
Sold in the MLS.
sold in the MLS or properties that were listed in the MLS and actually recorded sale in the MLS. So you're looking at those properties that
It
were
was sold at this price.
sold at that price in the MLS. Now, the recorded sale are properties that were not listed in the MLS at all. Say Richard puts a for sale sign on his home, doesn't work with an agent, doesn't have an agent inputting in the MLS. So him and his family all do what they need to do to get the recorded sale done on title and at the county. That's a recorded sale because it's a
So
public
which
sale.
number is the right one? So
They're both right. Because he did something outside the MLS, not represented by an agent.
So does he buy it at the price on the sale report, or he bought it at the price on the MLS? Which
Both.
price did he pay?
He paid. Which property did he buy? The one that was recorded on sale by
Well, they're
public?
2 different events. One's on the MLS, but the same property is not going to be on both for the same.
Correct.
as the best.
Two separate numbers.
There's
two
two
separate
separate numbers, 2 different properties. So this property, this gentleman
No,
here,
it's the same property.
no,
There's 2 lists, Caroline. One list is the properties that sold in the MLS, and the other list is the number of properties that didn't sell, that were sold, but that were not in the MLS.
But that same property will not appear for the same date as sold on the MLS and sold on public
Right.
records. So it's going to be one or the other.
one or the other. So one neighbor lists their home with you, another neighbor just puts a for sale sign and is not listed with anyone. Right? Your listing sells, you're recording it in the MLS, but the neighbor's property also sells as recorded on title and public record. Both of them sold, but they were done in two different ways. One with representation and one without representation.
So if you add those together, you're gonna get the total number of sales.
Total number of sales are 2 in that neighborhood, but one was in the MLS and one was outside or recorded publicly. Does that make sense?
It could have been a trustee sale, somebody foreclosed on a property,
That's
a
true.
bank foreclosed.
A bank foreclosure is a public.
Foreclosure and somebody at the trustee sale bought a property. That's something else would not be on the MLS.
Yep. Or, Richard gets a signed agreement, but now it's a registered listing because the client doesn't want it marketed at all. So now that would be a recorded public sale if and when Richard sells that property to someone, because it's not in the MLS. Does that help?
Not really.
Well, here's what we can say. There are certain transactions that will never be on the MLS.
Yeah, I get all of that,
Okay.
but why do they do that? Why do they?
There are
what's the
reasons they
purpose of
didn't
it?
want to involve an agent, and if an agent's involved, it will be on the
No, that's
MLS.
not my question.
So, yeah.
Why
Why
have
those
it?
numbers are here?
Because any homeowner wants to know what's happening in their neighborhood, right? They want to know what's going on because they want to make a better educated decision about should they go with an agent or should they not go with an agent? Do they want to list right now or not list right now? Are there a lot of for sales, but maybe some of those for sales are by homeowners only? Well, why aren't you wanting to work with an agent? Maybe I'll reach out to my neighbors and find out why. Or maybe I'll talk to my trusted agent and say, hey, I noticed there are at least 5 or 6 homes in my neighborhood that are FSBOs. Why is that? Is that a trend? Are you guys going away?
But
And
they're
now we
supposed
can
to have
still
more-
again have a
but they're
discussion.
Supposed to have more property than that. Like they sold more history. It's an history. They didn't only.
Are you looking at the history of that particular home?
No, because it's a history on the top of that. Like go down, I'm talking
Oh.
about the number now. This, I understand that.
You're talking about this
I
side over
understand
here.
The 5 numbers, no, just go down the screen. I'm in detail, I'm still in detail.
You're
They
done,
don't
you're done
talk about the
details.
same.
Oh,
Like down, like those number
okay. Now this is the history of the property itself,
of the property,
of the property. So anything that has ever happened to this home,
yeah.
right? So maybe in one of the past ownerships, they did sell it outside the MLS. And the other sales happened with an agent in the MLS. So those are different transactions that are affecting this
This will all be
property.
reflected there.
It will all be reflected here.
Okay, so my question, sorry, we were talking about different stuff, so now I'm go back to my original question.
Mhm.
Here in front of me from that property, it says that in like August 7, 2010, it's sold in the MLS at 850,000, okay?
Okay,
And on top of that, the same date, it says sale record at 1.7 million. So that's, I don't get it.
I would look at your title records then. I would look at title to see what happened there. Why are there 2 different sale prices?
Yeah.
So, and then look at the MLS where there was the property listed twice. Hopefully not.
Anthony,
Or
it could be
we've
something
experienced
even,
Documents being recorded against the wrong property,
True,
yes.
and that could be the case too,
and especially with such a disparity in regards to the price.
which I
Yes,
think.
that does
a few
happen
years
from
ago,
time to
John
time.
noticed some discrepancy about his title records, like.
I
It
know
wasn't,
what it is. I know
Oh.
what it is. He bought 2 duplex. So if you do like 850 multiplied by 2, it's equal 1,700. So I think the.
So
company
you-
just
so you
messed
had-
up, that it calculate 1 on 1 and it calculate
oh, okay,
the 2 quality because it's a duplex.
okay,
One building, but it's.
I did not know that, okay,
Yeah,
well, that's good to know,
yeah, but this is mixed up. It's not right, but yeah.
okay, I'm just looking at my home. It's a single family.
I just try to understand and this number doesn't fit. That's why I didn't understand.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense actually too. So, but yeah, I mean, those are great questions and, things that we'd have to look at and on an individual property basis.
Okay. But you're reading it, that's the most important thing. Good.
Yeah, the fact that you're reading it and willing to use it, that's a great thing. Are there any other questions? Carlos? No other
Okay,
questions?
Tony,
All right, well, thank you all.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, sir.
Is Sarah on with us? No, she's not. Okay. Just was going to ask her about the new fees that are going to be imposed on those individuals that have good credit when applying for.
Did that actually really pass?
It will. It's going to be an executive order. So Fannie Mae, FHA, they're
Can
all
he,
going to be
can
imposing
he
that.
do that legally?
Apparently so.
So Rick, it's the closing costs, right? Not on the actual interest.
They
rate.
said, I heard what, $40 extra per month?
You pay so much to get a interest rate. So those people that have good credit to get a certain interest rate are going to pay more for the same rate. Whereas somebody with poor credit is going to pay less to get that interest rate. They're going to get a discount to get the same interest rate. What's the moral of that story, huh?
Nobody, you know what? Everybody stop paying your bills so that you all get your payments.
There's the response. Okay, well, hey, thank you for coming, everybody. It's good seeing you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Great day.